Hey guys, so I'm out here at the shop with the speaker box. I'm trying to dual camera thing again. I'll get the hang of this eventually. So what we're doing today is we're gonna sand it down because there's still a bunch of glue left on it from the tape crap that I ripped off. So first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna tape off all the speakers. I'm gonna tape them off so that they're protected, you know, they don't get a bunch of sawdust and then paint. And so we're going to sand it down, we're going to fill the holes, we're going to prime it, we're going to get as much done as we can today on this thing. I'm all taped off on this thing, and let me show you what all I taped off. I taped off the front speakers so that, you know, no sawdust gets in there. And these are fragile. When you're working on speakers, you got to be careful. And these speakers are in pretty good condition, considering. So, considering how old how much this thing's been through, I taped off the side area here, where, you know, I don't want anything to get in, any sawdust. And now this is gonna get in the way when I'm sanding, but I'll just have to go back and sand this, hand sand it. I did the same thing for the other side, if you can see over here. And then I taped off this back control cavity where the speakers plug in and stuff. So now I'm going to go along and I'm going to sand everything. And for this I got this sander right here. Just a regular old Craftsman, you know, 80 grit. I got some high bumps that I want to take down. I'm going to get all this crap off. So we're going to do some sanding, and we'll probably prime it and then fill it. The primer will fill in anything, and it'll help show you what might need to really get filled. So that's why prep, you sand, you prime, you fill, paint. So give you guys a little trick. These, tie them. That way it won't come unplugged. That one's free. Yeah, so I like to put the prime coat on and then fill the holes, because I like to see what the prime coat fills, and then it also sometimes it helps you see the holes better. Not everyone does it that way, but that's the way I was taught when I was painting houses. Now obviously this isn't a house, but in essence this is the same thing. It's wood and holes. You know, I know there's different processes for guitars and other type of things, but this is plywood and staples, so there should be no reason why the same principles wouldn't apply. So that's what's going on here. I'm going to get this prime coat on, and then when I get the prime coat on, the prime coat only takes an hour, according to the can, to dry. And I didn't buy anything elaborate. I just wanted something to put a prime coat on. But one thing to consider when you're doing work is, what can I do while it's drying if I want to optimize my time? Because you want to be able to get as much done as possible. Well, while it's drying, I'm going to be prepping the hardware, because the hardware is getting painted red with the front grate. Right? The hardware in the grate is going to be red. And then so now we're at the stage of cleaning up the parts, the handles. You know, they got a rust on them and different stuff. So what I'm gonna do is clean up the rust, and you know, I don't have to strip them clean. I don't have to get every bit of what's on there off there. I just gotta clean up the rust, and anything that air or anything could get under, because the key to a good paint job is encapsulating. You have to encapsulate what you're painting with the paint, so nothing can get in and get under and cause a chip or anything like that. So what I gotta do is basically just sand them. Sand the rust off, make them smooth. Now this, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. This is the original piece that has all the information. Now I got to keep this so I can give it to anyone if I sell that. Maybe I'll glue it to the inside, or I can't just toss this out, because this is what authenticates that as a PV Electronic Corporation amp with a model number and a serial number and all that stuff, which that is, and that's a good quality. Now let me get some sandpaper and we'll go to work on this stuff. This is just a little piece of sandpaper because I'm dealing with little stuff. I want to keep the PV. I want to keep that. So I'm just going to clean up around it. Alright, so I'm going to clean these parts up. And then I'm going to clean these parts up, and I'm going to put the second coat on that thing, and I'll come back when I'm putting the wheels on. After all that, we got a prime coat on. We've got, see, these are filled with putty, and I filled as much holes as I could. I want this thing to look as good as possible when it's done. I want it to pop. I want it to be awesome. So these big spots weren't holes, but they were, they were rough spots in the. This back piece was not the same plywood as the top. It was, I don't even want to say, it was particle board. Yeah, so that's it. And the thing is I don't want to do the truck. I can't do the truck bed lining until I can do all the truck bed lining. So it's near the end of the day, So I'm gonna put the wheels on the bottom to make it easier to bring in the house. And maybe I'll work on the lights tonight. I don't know if I should continue. Really need to drill the holes out. I didn't plan on getting that far today, so I didn't bring my drill with me. Well, looks like that's what I'm doing at home. Alright guys, so I'm here in the house. I'm going to put the wheels on this cabinet. It's not done yet, but I want to be able to wheel it around to where I need it to go. So yeah, that's it. I'm putting them on. I've got everything I should need already out here. Tape measure, speed square, drill bit. Now, the reason why I didn't do this yesterday, let's see, I didn't have the right stuff. And not just that I didn't have the drill, but I didn't want to just slap these wheels on all willy-nilly. I want them to be symmetrical. I want them to look right. I want them to be in unison with each other, all that stuff, because you know, you want it to be right. So anyways, so I did put this first wheel in the screw in a hole that was already there, and as fate would have it, that seemed to work out well, because I measured. Alright, first I took the square and I made sure that it was square and straight. And it is. And then pull from one, it's 1 1/4 inches. Pull from another is 2 1/4 inches. So I made marks on all the other corners. 2 1/4 inches, 1 1/4 inches. Same here. 1 1/4 inches, 2 1/4 inches. Same here. 2 1/4 inches, 1 1/4 inches. So now I'm going to take my speed square and just kind of straighten, you know, make those lines a little longer. This isn't precisely square, but within reason, right? I said I wanted it all to be right, but it's not like I'm building a piano. That's what they used to say when I was learning. When I was learning to lay shingles, you know, ain't building pianos here. Just lay them. All right. Have my arrows, have everything on there. So I'm going to put these wheels on. There's two ways you could put them. One way is longer than the other. One way is shorter. And I want the longer way to be the front and the back of the speaker cabinet. It's not that much longer, and it probably doesn't make that much of a difference. But it's just my thinking, you know, more support. You know, it's not going to flip over this way. It's going to flip over frontwards or backwards. So more support. That's why I'm putting them on that way. So now, line them up, make sure it's straight. So now I'm going to draw lines in the holes so I can drill. I got to drill holes out. These screws they're too fat to just try and screw in. They're not made for that. I'm gonna get them all on there. So that way I only gotta do it once. So I'm gonna run in phases, right? Everything. I'm gonna drill all the holes. Then I'm gonna set all the screws instead of just doing one at a time. And if I had two screw guns, 2 drills with each set up, then I probably would do just one wheel at a time. But instead of switching back and forth on this, I'm just gonna do all the holes and then all the screws. Alright, all my marks are made. Now I might be making a little bit more of a fuss about the straightness that needs be, but it's just who I am as a person. One thing I want to make sure of, now I picked a bit that was not, you don't want a bit the exact same size as your screw, because then there'll be nothing for the threads, you know, for the teeth of the screw to grab onto. So you want the bit for the pilot hole to be a little smaller than the tang of your screw, so that there's something left there in the hole for the teeth to grab onto. And that's what I've done. Now let's go ahead and get these holes drilled. Enough talking. Get to work. So what I did was, you know, can't always get away with this, but there was some other channels. One was another hole, so the hole I was trying to drill was too close to it, so it went and tried to just go into that other hole. So what I did was I drilled at an angle in the opposite direction, just a little bit, enough to make a different channel, so that way when I put the drill straight down, it could bite onto something right there and go straight down. You know, sometimes you don't have enough space to go off in different directions, but in this case there's some other wood back there, and it's all in behind you'll never see it. So I could do that, and you can do that sometimes. You can't always do that, but so it worked out for me this time. Alright, 8 more holes to drill. And like I said, it might seem like I'm making a big fuss about aligning these wheels up and on the bottom of a speaker cabinet that no one's ever going to see, but it's just, you get in the habit of doing things right because you want to do things right as a habit. So, well, if someone's going to see it or not, do it right. Alright, so now I can take this bit out. Word of caution, if you don't already know this, the bit gets hot. So, just use caution. This one doesn't get too hot. But yeah, they get hot. Friction creates heat. Now I would prefer to use a socket and a ratchet, because like I said, this just goes. I'm going to try really hard to ease it in there. Now you got to be careful too. Once it reaches its spot where it's tight, and then this is why you got to be careful with a drill like this. It's there. You can't just keep trying to force it in. I mean, yeah, you want it to be tight or whatever, but you keep trying to force it in, and it'll either break the screw, or it will strip out the hole, you know. So once it's tight, just let it be. And I think we know in our heart when it's tight. Huh. Wow. I didn't drill that one out, all the holes. So, whatever. I'll just, I'll do it last. Now this one, that one the first one, I already cranked on yesterday with a ratchet. So it was already where I wanted it. Now with this one I'm starting fresh. I'm going to not crank the first screw all the way down. I'm going to leave it a little loose so that way I can line it up and get the second screw. You know, I'll do one diagonal from that one, and that'll kind of put it where I want it to be, and then I can just crank them down, because you don't want to do one screw and have it pull away from the holes you drilled. You know, some people would even say start all 4 screws and then crank them down. Maybe I'll do that, but usually corner to corner will keep it lined up to where you're not pulling it away from the hole you already drilled. So let's do that. And if you can tell, I'm just doing a quick little burst with this, mainly because, like I said, this isn't the best drill in the world. It's just a Black & Decker, and it's an older Black & Decker. So, you know, but it's got some power. It just gives what it has. And that's why I'm doing quick little bursts. So I get it in there where it needs to be. And then I can worry about putting it down tight. Tighten them all off. Don't want to strip them, like I said. But they gotta be tight. And I bought lock washers. So those lock washers got to tighten in too. Alright, so that's that. I'm going to do the same thing on all the other ones, and then we will be ready to put the final coat on for the truck bed line. But I don't know yet, because I want the inside is dull, and I want to tighten that up a little bit. And I might just use some regular old artist paint or something, you know, black, just because I don't need to put the truck bed lining in there. And I want to get around the speakers and stuff, but I don't want it to be crappy. I'm redoing everything else. So I might do that before I do that final coat. So maybe yeah, so you'll see me when I'm doing that.